There you go. So it's blinking in the upper left.
There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, internet fans of all ages. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Chico Chapter. My name is Tim Sharkey. I'm your MC today. I am with Chico Start. We're here in our amazing large conference room that's hopefully going to be start using sooner than later, we hope. We have a few different things that we've been doing lately. One is all these Zoom conferences, and today we have a special guest. First, I want to thank our organizers. We have Wendy with, how do I present you now? Still with?
Just say Butte College, that's easier.
College? All right, I'm gonna update your bio too. So we have Wendy Porter with Butte College. We have myself, Tim Sharkey with Chico Start. We have Eva Shepard with Chico Start. And if Heather was here with the Chico Chamber of Commerce, she has a quite busy schedule as well, so sometimes hard for her to be here. And our sponsors, which have been Danny Schwartz with Danny Schwartz Consulting with our social media. And we have Kent Hastings, who volunteers and sponsors his time with our video work and our audio. So thank you very much, Kent. We appreciate it. And everybody knows, but if you're going to be watching this recording later, this is 1 Million Cups put on by the Kauffman Foundation. It's a weekly event that is happening across the United States right now in different cities, small conference rooms, and everyone's home offices. I'm not sure how long we're going to keep this up, but I'm sure it's going to become more the norm than not from now on. And I actually kind of like it. I'm getting more and more used to it and getting more comfortable with it and being more creative with it in certain ways. Actually, I want to do like a Hollywood Squares with people. That's my own personal thing.
Paul Lynn the block.
Yes, well, that's the square. And
Hello.
This is a nonprofit weekly meeting. There is Heather with the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Heather. You're muted. So
She's saying she can't talk, I think.
I know, sorry. I'm the only one here, so I got to deal with the phone. So sorry, I was on a phone call.
That's okay. So this is a nonprofit. We try to think of ourselves as the ecosystem front door to being an entrepreneur. Because this is a special place for you to share your ideas and your concepts and your stories about getting into your own business. And it's a safe place to get feedback from the community, give you good constructive criticism, as well as
You just got photobombed there.
and support. Yes. So please, this happens every Wednesday at 9 a.m. There are chapters all across the United States. If you'd like to watch other ones, please do that. There are different communities that have multiple 2 speakers per Wednesday. We typically do 1 per week. And we're actually booked out until mid-July. For us right now, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
End of July? End of July.
Our next opening is July 29th.
July 29th.
We have an easy commute for people.
Well, I think that may be it also. So people can just join in. You're like, okay, I'll give a presentation. And we have been seeing more and more presentation requests from across the United States. Not all of them get accepted, but I have to say, it's nice seeing people stepping up and sharing their ideas. And maybe it's not as intimidating sitting in front of a room of people giving it, where you can just shut off your camera. People don't have to see you. You just show up in your pajama sweats and just put on a nice shirt. So I think this is gonna bring out a lot more creativity from people and entrepreneurialism and starting new businesses online and trying to jump back into the working community because there are so many jobs out there that need to be filled. So hopefully groups like us can create jobs across the United States that will help fill those roles and create a better community with prosperity. So I'd like to say thank you for showing up. And what we're going to do now is introduce our speaker, and I'm going to turn over the screen in just a minute for his presentation. So we have Sean Spence, and his name is Better Nonprofits, Armchair Telethon. Better Nonprofits provides a variety of consulting, staffing services to nonprofit organizations of all kinds. Armchair Telethon, the 100% online, easy for you fundraiser, never lets you leave your armchair. So, Spence, Mr. Sean Spence, I'm going to turn it over to you, and let's hear what you got to say today, sir.
Great. Now, what you guys care about is not so much Better Nonprofits, but the subsidiary company or division or whatever, which is gosh, I've never blanked on that before. But anyway, Armchair Telethon, which has really only existed for about 8 weeks or so. And it is my fast growth startup. It's absolutely going nuts. I got a mention in the Wall Street Journal that included my picture. It was absolutely crazy. So there's plenty of things for us to talk about. This is the 13th or 14th 1 million cups that I've talked to. And here we are. I do encourage you to take a look at, go to YouTube and just search for Armchair Diary. It's not a sales thing. It's a hardcore daily video diary of my life as an entrepreneur. Today will be the 6th one, so I'll record that later, but there are 5 episodes up there. And I just think this group will love it. I've been involved with 1MC since the first year, and I'm true blue 1MC. I'm very excited to be here. The problem we're solving is that nonprofits need to raise money. They need to get their message out. They need to do it with as little cost as humanly possible. Now, for anybody in this room who has been involved in a significant way with nonprofit fundraising, maybe we've got a professional fundraiser in the room, which is what I've done in various ways for 30 years. I will say things that you will have trouble believing. I would not have believed some of the things that I'm going to say 3 months ago. But we'll talk about that, and one, you'll get it more, and we can talk about it in Q&A, because really what we're talking about are things that are exactly the same as any other fundraising, but they are dramatically turbocharged by the internet, by social media, by the way we consume entertainment now, by the way we deal with online donations now. And so things have gotten very, very different because of that. And these telethons, virtual telethons, and then some proprietary things that I know that I've blended with that, make it all really, really powerful. So that's what we do. We create virtual telethons that are absolutely changing the game and are far more powerful than I ever would have thought was even possible. But it's also very cool. And so keep in mind, as we talk about anything related to a successful business or my making money or whatever, if I make $1, that's because charities are making like 10 or more dollars. So if I build a $10 million company, that's because we're raising over $100 million for charity. And so that's what we're talking about. 1, we can build a cool company, and 2, we're going to do really great things and really change the way the world operates for nonprofits in a lot of ways. There are also some business applications that we can talk about in Q&A if you all want to. Our primary market is nonprofit organizations, but as I said, there are some business applications, so we can talk about that in the event that you want to, but this could go really anywhere, and it goes different ways for different 1 million cups groups. Business model is very, very simple. I do have some proprietary processes that allow us to do some things that are going to be tough for people to catch up with, but they will, right? I've got a small lead that I will not have for long. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. We charge a fee, and we have increasing virality. So if we do a telethon somewhere, then I have more business there than I want to do. And so that's one of the things that is allowing us to expand nationally very, very fast in a way that is honestly freaking me out, and that I've only read about and never seen before. And so like we're in 3 states right now. I believe that by the end of this month, we'll be in somewhere between 10 and 20 states. And it's just exponentially growing, and I believe that's going to continue. secret sauce, like I said, small first mover advantage, some proprietary processes, and I can tell you what they are. I just can't tell you how they work. A national network of super connected folks. And I'm happy to talk about that and how did I do that and why was that important for me to do? So as entrepreneurs, we can talk about kind of the entrepreneurial story there. And I think you all will get a really big kick out of it. And a great team that's just getting better and better all over the country. Today, there's little or no truly national competition. Somebody who lives in a place and trying to do this in all 50 states. There's basically nobody doing that at all. Surely there's somebody I'm missing, right? I mean, I'm not stupid, but I'm good at finding people and I can't find anybody. But that's not gonna last long. That's gonna last 3 months, 6 months, something like that. Within 3 to 5 years, everybody is gonna be a competitor. Every organization is either gonna be hiring somebody or doing their own. Every meeting professional, everything. They'll be all over the place. Financial analysis, our run rate, I think, is going to hit 30,000 by August 1st. Actually, I created this 2 weeks ago. That is now looking very conservative. I think our run rate is going to look a lot bigger than that, and it is really nice. Today, it's been profitable, very profitable from day one. The day I got my first check, I did not yet have a bank account. I had not yet formed the LLC. It was crazy. We are very viral. It was very virtual. We probably do not need fundraising at all, but we might do it for some reasons that I'm happy to discuss if we want to. Here's some questions that somebody may want to take a quick look at, and somebody may want to ask one of these things. These are things you probably would not think to ask unless you know my story, the story of this company. And so I just wanted to throw them out there as something you might want to ask. But you don't have to. You can ask anything you want. And that is 6 minutes, my friends. I am Sean Spence. You're welcome to email me. You're welcome to call me if you can find that phone number, which you actually can really, really easily. My cell phone is all over the internet. And really, I do think anybody here who loves entrepreneurship the way I suspect all of us do, go check out Armchair Diary on YouTube, just because it's going to be marginally fun, at least. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yay.
All right, who's got the first questions?
What's your stock ticker?
Not yet, but that
Okay, yeah.
honestly, and I get that this is a little crazy, but it's also what every entrepreneur thinks, but we are intentionally building with that in mind. So
Okay.
we are intentionally building to be a public company. We are intentionally building to be a national company. And so the decisions that we make are based on that pie in the sky intention.
Cool.
Lynn, go ahead.
Danny said that we might be running out of time on the conference. I don't know if that's, she got a Zoom message saying the thing will be ending in 10 minutes. So that was like,
Then it is. Then we're going to get cut
Good.
off whenever that, she's also looking at a timer then.
okay.
Yeah,
Says
remaining
Lynn.
meeting time, 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
So I can, do you want me to set up a new meeting? I have to
Sure.
log off in order to set up a new meeting, and then I can email that link to Tim. Tim, you can put it in the chat for everybody.
Okay.
You want me to do that?
That'd be great.
Okay,
Sure.
hold on. I have to log off though to
Sure.
do that.
Yep.
so-
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then we can talk while she does that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So my question, Sean,
Please.
is that I know some other people were trying to use GoFundMe to raise some money for an organization.
Sure.
Do you have your own platform so that you are in control and there isn't some big brother guy saying, oh, we don't believe in that, so it's gone?
Oh, that's interesting. I've never had anybody ask that before. What we're doing right now is we're sending the money directly to the organization. So when people attend the telethon, and it's a telethon like all of us in this room grew up with, right? It's like Jerry Lewis, it's like Miracle Children's Network, it's like that, all 100%, every piece of it online from laptops and whatever. So that's what it is. So then when someone watches that from their laptop or their phone or whatever, where they give, should they be inspired to give, is they give straight to the website of whatever organization you're supporting. So right now that's not an issue. Now the next step is we want to, we will have our own platform, but that'll be another 2 to 6 months.
So right now, you have like a donation button, you click on that, it goes directly to the organization that the telephone is for.
Yes, or we just give their we do a couple of different things that provide options for people, but all of them just direct straight to that organization. So we never actually see the money. We never touch the money. Really, the reason we did that, you can probably guess, is that I didn't want people to think I was buying a new car.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't want to deal with the ethical questions.
Mhm.
So you guys have something, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ken, that's okay. Go ahead.
I was wondering if you guys are running something like a Zoom thing or something.
Here's what we're using, and you might check it out. Now, it doesn't substitute for Zoom. It's just different from Zoom. Zoom would not be good for this in the way that makes it all work. We use StreamYard, which is like it sounds, StreamYard.com. And it's really wonderful for this. It provides a back room, a waiting room, where I can then be a stage manager and say, oh, well, Eva, it's now her time. So I throw her up on screen, and Lynn's done. So I take her off. And it provides lots of other things that are really powerful for fundraising and communicating with the public.
Okay, I have a question. Can you tell me a little bit more about how this idea germinated with you? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Please tell us more about that.
Sure, it's a great story. At least I think it is. I was sitting at home, just like all of us, right? This was 6 or 8 weeks ago. I was sitting at home, just like all of us are, and I was getting a little bored. I had work to do, but I wasn't interacting with people. I'm a public service guy, and that's been my life. Something that I've done one way or another my entire life. And I wasn't doing anything to help anybody except for myself and my family. And I really wanted to do something to help the community. And I've been a professional fundraiser in a wide range of ways for 30 years. And so what could I do? I also have MS, by the way, and so I'm a part-time wheelchair user. So what can I do? My wife won't let me leave the house because I'm in the risk group, and I need to be able to do whatever I do sitting in my armchair. Literally, that is where this was born, and my wife came up with the name. And it was a flash of brilliance, which many of us have heard that. That's a specific term, right? That's in inventing and in creating a patent, what is the flash of brilliance that made you think of this? And I don't know what it was, but do a virtual telethon popped into my head, and I decided to. And then the short story is I created a virtual telethon over 8 days. From the moment I had the idea till the time it was over was roughly 8 days. I was going to break my arm, pat myself on the back if we raised $5,000, and we raised over $35,000 in a town the size of Chico. And so it was, and we could have raised so much more if we'd done it in 6 weeks instead of 8 days, and really planned it out and done things, but that's it. And along the way, I realized I can do this anywhere because of some things I know that nobody knows. And we're going to get cut off in about 30 seconds, just so everybody knows. I don't have an email that I can see, but we are. And I could create a business that is scalable because I could train smart high school students to do what we do. And that's it. Yeah. That became a business.
Neat.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you guys. I love it. I love the entrepreneurial skills.
Right. Yeah. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Tim, do you have anything from Wendy yet?
No, but I'm thinking we could just relaunch the same meeting, can't we?
Can we?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Let's try it. What the heck?
Yeah.
That's just all we'll launch it because it's the same one we use for all meetings. So.
All right.
Everybody leave and
I'm
come
going to
back.
leave.
Okay.
Right.
I'll text Wendy then.
Okay. In the meeting, and we'll see you in a flash.
And so we built the telethon around the Community Foundation's COVID-19 fund, and then all the money went straight to them, and then they did what they were otherwise doing with it, which what they're doing is giving grants.
Right.
So Boys and Girls Club or the food bank or whatever comes to them and they give a grant for some COVID-19 related thing. And that's it. I mean, it is beyond.
Sounds like North Valley Community Fund.
Yeah, that's what we're just
That's
talking
why I
about.
asked him how
It is
that's working
perfect.
together with, yeah.
Perfect. You should hire me. It would be the smartest decision you made today.
Well, we don't run the fund, but we'd happily send the information along the way so they could, check it out for themselves.
Yeah, and our community foundation director would happily tell whoever that because he loves us.
Okay.
And he's
Awesome.
already booked us for next year.
Wow. Right. So this is going to be an exciting wild ride, Sean.
It's crazy. I've been in the Wall Street Journal. It's absolutely nuts. I'm hearing you'll love this. So we decided telethons are what we do. So we're going to do a national telethon, which is something we offer. We're going to do it related to the Black Lives Matter cause. And so we started pulling together people for that. So for example, while I was on one of these 1MC calls this morning, I noticed the email come in that we got the former city manager of Ferguson, Missouri, where all of this was born, is going to be on our advisory board, right? So we're doing this big telethon. It's going to be touching everybody in the country. We're bringing in, we got a 2-time Super Bowl winner who's going to speak. We've got, it's just going to be incredible. So it's providing amazing opportunities to interact with amazing people to do amazing things.
Pretty cool.
So you were saying that most of the money that you have been getting donated just goes straight through to the.
That's not quite what I said. It doesn't go through. We do not touch the money. We do not see the money. Now we may change that, but as of right now, everybody donates directly at the organization's button to donate to whatever it is. So, and the reason for that is I just didn't want people to worry about the ethics and am I keeping the money or how much is the percent they're getting 100%. We're not getting a dime of it.
So how are you creating revenue to keep your lights on and your time?
We get a fee. So they pay us a fee at the beginning.
Flat fee instead of a percentage.
Yeah. Well, in the nonprofit fundraising world, it is considered unethical to take a percentage. So it's different from business. So like if, for example, you were a member of the National Society of Fundraising Executives and they found out that you took a percentage ever, you would be kicked out of the National Society because that is considered unethical. So we don't do that. So we take a flat fee and generally, and I have to say things like generally, right? Because we're entrepreneurs, I gotta do a little bit of CYA, but frankly, the numbers that I use are all extremely conservative. And, so for example, the very first one that we did made almost 20 times our fee. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that kind of range, which in the fundraising world is awesome. If you do an event, like you have a big rubber chicken gala there in Chico, then they're going to be ecstatic if it costs 10% to have it, but they'll be just fine if it costs 30, which is going to be a lot more frequent, that it'll cost 30% for them to get it done. Our percents are much lower, not because I'm smarter, but because of the power of large numbers and the internet and social media and all those things.
So how many employees do you currently have, Sean?
Well, keep in mind that this idea came up roughly 8 weeks ago, but I do have already 2 full-time employees, and then I've got several others that are on commission and other things. But frankly, it's all going extremely fast and money is coming in and it's going really well. So yeah, I'm hiring. I'm assuming that within 60 days, we'll probably have 3 to 5 full-time employees. I'm assuming that we're going to be able to start offering benefits by the end of the year. I hope to start offering like a nice benefit package in January.
Nice.
That's where we're going. And that's important to me. That's the fabric of the company we're trying to build.
So tell us a little bit more about your entrepreneurial background.
Sure. It's long. My dad was a serial entrepreneur. I mean, I remember the first time he lost $60,000 in a partnership to start a paint company, paint store with his friend, and his friend skipped town with $60,000 in cash. And, but my dad just went on to whatever the next thing was, right? And that's what he did. And then my mother, when my dad died, she got laid off like within a year. She was working at a clinic and she was doing really, really well, making lots and lots of billables. And they were doing a horrible job of collecting because she'd gone to this new place, you know, the separation of the healthcare and blah, blah, blah. So she went from one place she'd been for 30 years and she moved over to the other place because it seemed like it was the right thing to do. And then they laid her off like a year later. So she literally moved across the street to my dad's office, put out her own shingle, did exactly the same thing, but did a good job of collecting the billings. And she made more money as an entrepreneur for the rest of her career, which was like another 6 or 10 years. So that's my heritage. And then I've started many, many businesses. I'm a serial entrepreneur in the truest sense of the word. I do have a lot of political fundraising background, a lot of nonprofit fundraising background. I've started businesses that have failed miserably, and I've started a few very successful businesses, a marketing firm that was national, and an event production business that created events from scratch that was really local and regional here in Missouri, which I stopped doing because I have MS and I had a big relapse and could not figure out, I could today, by the way, but I could not figure out at that time how to make an events business work on that scale. And it was pretty big. We were running 40 events at the time I shut it down and either gave all those events away or just didn't do a few. But I couldn't figure out how to do it with a wheelchair. Today I could. So some of me misses doing that. And then I started a large ticketing business that's like Eventbrite. Many of you will know Eventbrite. Basically, I took their idea and we give 50 cents for every ticket sold to the charity of the event planner's choice. And that is, it was a successful business 3 months ago. And then COVID hit and I had to refund literally tens of thousands of dollars in 48 hours. And all events went away and nothing. Now this business is going to save that ticketing business because this business is doing things like we're going to start offering charity auctions that are going to run through that. And we are going to start offering processing the money and everything ourselves as an option. And we'll do that through Every Event Gives. So that's, in as small a nutshell as I could give you, that is my entrepreneurial past.
Pretty big.
It's a lot. It's up, it's down, you know.
Nice.
Thank you.
What, do you have like a bottom fee or
Yes.
so it's like a sliding scale depending on.
Here's what we have. And this is not because this is the smartest decision. It's because what we started. And it will evolve. And it's extremely smart for our customers. It probably is not the smartest decision for me. So for example, we charge exactly the same fee for Kansas City as we do, Kansas City, Missouri anyway, as we would for New York City, right? So that's a little bit nuts. But what we charge is $3,000 for a city, the population up to 500,000. We charge, so that would include Chico. We charge $5,000 for over 500,000 city. We charge $5,000 for statewide, and we charge $10,000 for national. Now, of course, your next question is, well, Sean, everything you do on the internet is not just national, it's global. So what's the difference? Why are you charging different rates? Well, you're right. It doesn't have anything to do with what you do or with the potential reach of what it is. It has to do with where my team will spend our time. So if you wanted to have a truly national event, you will get a lot more value out of having us do it for $10,000. And then we spend our time building a national advisory board and that sort of thing. Whereas for a city, you'll still have a national reach, but you'll just have people in Chico on the advisory board. That's where we will spend our marketing effort. That's where we will spend our effort.
Okay.
Did you guys already talk about like how it works? Who are the people that are making the phone calls?
Not really, at all. And the way we know that is that there are absolutely no phone calls. So that's part of it. I can go into any individual part of this that you want me to, but just in a real nutshell, everything is handled online. There will be a little bit of Zooming and a little bit of phone call, but very, very little, like 5% of the activity is going to take place there. Most of it so most of the interaction pre-telethon is just emails back and forth. Like I can see as I'm talking to you, I've gotten emails from people with a yes or a no. People say no to me all day. People say yes to me all day. It is a roller coaster ride that is crazy and fun. When we actually get to the telethon itself, it is all online. The way people give is through the web. They're giving to their, the charity or whatever, their button, they're pushing their button and giving it their website. It doesn't go through us. And everything else is handled with, okay, so let's just say Heather wants to be a performer. She's an opera singer. And so we've decided that she can give us 10 minutes of opera that's just going to be killer. She is the female Pavarotti, and she's going to give us 10 minutes. Well, she can do it in her underwear from the bottom down anyway. I wouldn't advise it from the top up. But just like all of us, she can be doing about whatever she wants from wherever she wants, from her living room, from her dining room table, from her whatever. And if you're a superstar, then you could do it from your agent's office. So like, for example, we're getting ready to do one for a veterans organization. And it's just almost a guarantee now that Gary Sinise, the actor, is going to appear at that. Well, why is he going to appear? He's never been to Columbia, Missouri, and has no interest in coming to Columbia, Missouri, but he loves veterans. This is a great charity. We have some connections to him, and he can do it from his couch. So that's how it works. It all, by the way, it all goes through the platform we mentioned, StreamYard, and it goes there, and then it gets broadcast out to Facebook and YouTube, so you don't have to have an account or anything. In fact, you can see what's on Facebook even without an account. And then we're probably going to start doing LinkedIn and possibly some other platforms as we continue to get better at what we're doing.
How do you monitor the incoming donations so that you can post that and let your audience know how wonderful you're doing, so they want to?
Such a great question, Heather.
I'm not Heather.
Lynn.
Well, oh, you're not Heather. Oh, sorry, you're Lynn. Such a great question, Lynn. I'm trying to be good at this, but that's such a perfect question because that was something we had to figure out, right? Because the money's not going through us, or I would get an email every time that somebody did something. So here's what we did, and here's what we recommend. But like all things, if you were a charity that hired us, and by the way, you're not Heather, you're Lynn, but if Heather wanted to hire us to do something for the chamber, or if your community foundation wanted to hire us, then one of the things we would provide them a list of, here's some things you are not remotely required to do, but if you do them, you will make more money. So it's just up to you. One of the things on that list is however your money is processed, whether it's Stripe or whatever, or PayPal or Authorize.net or whatever it is, add us, add me, or whoever the stage manager is, we'll give you the email, add them for just the period of the telethon, add them their email so that they get an email every time somebody donates. Because then they will be able to do what you just said, Lynn. They'll be able to throw it up on the screen and say, hey, we just got a donation of $500 or $10 or whatever. And hey, we've got a match. And so far we've got $850 toward the $1,000 match. Boy, all you have to do is give $150 and you'll finish the match, or the $10,000 match, or the, whatever. And so that's how that would work. Otherwise, what we're going to do, we're getting ready to do one, the big national one. They're not going to give me an email. I know that. That's the way it is. Fine. So what we're going to do, and I'm figuring out still all the language and everything, but basically we're going to tell people to send us their receipt with their name blacked out, and we will then announce that the money is there, and that take the 2 minutes it takes to do that, because that will then help us raise money and we'll be able to let people know where we are. So we will do that, which is going to be imperfect, but if somebody does not want to give us that information, I get it. And it will still enable us to do some of that raw give now, because we just, we have this goal thing.
Great question, Lynn.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Lynn and Heather.
So you said you have 2 full-time staff. Who is handling your?
If Heather is talking, I cannot hear her.
You can't? You can't hear me?
I can hear you, Heather.
I can
Just
hear you.
maybe speak up.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know
get
why.
closer
That's
to-
weird.
I can hear you just fine, Heather. But yeah, speak up a little.
Sean, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now, I think.
Okay. I was wondering, you have 2
For me, it's like she's on mute,
Yeah, you can't hear me.
and the rest of you are not.
So Heather, just say the question and we'll repeat it.
Okay, I was gonna
Thank
chat. So one, he has 2 full-time staff. Who's doing the public relations? Is he doing the marketing? Who's handling, he said he got interviewed by the Wall Street Journal, like who's handling his public relations and media and all that kind of stuff and marketing?
So how many people do you have on staff? Who's handling your public relations? And then
Sure.
if I missed anything, Heather, put it in the chat.
Okay, and I will not see the chat because I'm talking, but somebody else can tell me. Thank you, Heather, not Lynn. I am the primary staff. I work I've been up this morning since 3. I will work as long as I can keep my eyes open, which will probably be somewhere between 10 and 12. I will do that every day until I have to take a really long nap. I do have 2 full-time staff people. Keep in mind, we've only been, this idea did not exist 9 weeks ago. It came up 8 weeks ago. But we're getting customers pretty fast and furious. And I do have 2 full-time employees. I used to own a PR company that I started and then grew into a larger marketing firm. So I'm doing lots of PR, not nearly as much as I should because there's just one of me. And I am I probably am the primary salesperson. I'm the best salesperson right now because I have the biggest network. And right now the network is the thing. So other people are mostly doing other things. And then I have a bunch of people who are helping, and I have an incredibly powerful, much smarter than I am, much richer than I am, much more successful than I am advisory board that is very, very active in making a huge difference. And because they believe that we could be a $1 billion company. So including a few people who have created $1 billion companies, like one of the guys who is part of the Netscape IPO, right? They believe we could be a $1 billion company. Now, by the way, when I talk about money, which I talk about a little bit more with you guys because we're entrepreneurs and we're talking about the business story, but I want you to keep in mind that if I make $1, it's because we probably raised $10 or more for charity. So if this is a $1 billion company, then it's going to be raising 10 billion or much more for charity. So that gets me excited. I'm very excited about the mission, and not only the fact that we can build a sustainable company, but the fact that we are really going to be a massive contributor to the world. Also, by the way, if it all goes away, let me tell you, because entrepreneurs, you'll get a kick out of this. If it all collapsed, right? If I fail miserably at creating this company, then what I could do is I could say, you know what, crap, I'm just going to do this myself and be a guy who does 50 telethons a year, and I could easily make $100,000 to $200,000 a year just for myself, sitting here at this desk where you're looking at me, or sitting in my living room armchair. And so my worst case scenario is I fail at company building, and then I just become a nice, successful, doing what I love service provider.
I'm going to read a couple of these chats. Heather says, I have to ask, are you working with local chambers? And Eva said
I have not gone to chambers yet, but I want to. And we are working with a couple of downtown business associations. Chambers should call me. Downtown business associations should call. I have a whole new model that we're just starting to sell, like in the last week, that we just figured out that is super duper powerful for both chambers and downtown business associations. And like amoebas, right? Locally owned business associations, very, very powerful for them.
Eva says I have to join another call, but thank you very much, Sean. Great
Thank you.
idea. Keep us updated. So that was. We're starting a thing here in Butte County called CERT in the last few weeks, maybe a couple months, and it started years ago. I took a class in 2014 in Nevada, so it's a community emergency response team, and I'm doing like ham radio part of it. So this is this other thing called ARIES.
Cool.
But they can't handle. They already have the sheriff's posse and some other things. So, but CERT they can handle. They can't handle the ham radio thing by itself yet. So we're kind of being folded in under CERT. So CERT is like this kind of new thing in Butte County. And like in May, we were out at food bank distribution points, handing out boxes of food, and we would support police and fire during, fire incidents or things like that, or stuff like that. So do you have any recommendation for how CERT? Yeah, CERT. Yeah, ButteCountyCERT.com or .org, I think is what it is. Just kind of wondering what I don't know that we have a nonprofit entity in place yet. And the guy who's running that is in charge of, he's got an office in Oroville. I think he's like a emergency service fellow, and he kind of is coordinating all this. So any suggestions on that? Is that something that you think could be a telethon thing?
It could be. I would need to learn more. You're welcome to
Sure.
email me. We are excellent for about 70 to 80% of the nonprofits.
Thank you.
And I can help you figure that out. So if you want to email me, Sean@betternonprofits.com, I'm happy to talk to you. I mean, that's what I do. And I'm happy to, if it's not a fit, I will tell you that, because I don't want to have a failure. And also because I'm a public service guy. So I'm happy to give you advice otherwise too.
One of the things we're doing is
3 minutes left, so we're gonna have one or two more questions and then say thank you to everybody. But go ahead, Kent.
Oh yeah, okay. So during the campfire, there were people that couldn't communicate out or get communications in, that there was the fire there. They were given misleading information on the phones. Cell towers burned up, phones went down, power was out. So what we're doing is doing battery powered radios, and people are getting we've set up things in Bangor, California, and Oroville, and we just did a reception test up in Cohasset, up in the trees, and then we're going to go out to Forest Ranch. So people are setting these networks up, battery powered radios, so they can hear about things from county officials and also talk amongst themselves, like, hey, I need to be evacuated or something like that.
Sure.
So communication alternatives so they don't die in a fire. That's like probably a thing I'm most.
Right. Is there a question?
Yeah. Is that something you think you could do a telethon about?
Again, email me and we'll talk about it.
All right.
My last question would be, do you need to be a nonprofit to raise money or they just want to raise money for softball league locally?
Oh yeah, do you need to be a 501c3? Not necessarily, but there are a variety of things that need to be in place. So for example, any Boys and Girls Club in the country is a great prospect for what we're doing. Some other thing might not be, but I can pretty quickly ascertain if it makes sense, and you're welcome to email me. And there are a lot, like I will tell you, our Little League Baseball League here in Columbia would be, and we're the same size as Chico, and I know a little bit more about it. I know the answers to my questions. They would be perfect. So sure, there are all kinds of things that would make a lot of sense.
All right, well, we're at 10 o'clock, so that is our time for the day.
Great.
Sean Spence
Thank you.
with Armchair Telethon.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This is a great concept, awesome ideas being implemented. It's growing as we talk. So
It is.
what being an entrepreneur is about is having that brainstorm, taking some action, taking some steps, and sharing the idea to find out how great it can be. And these are the people in our neighborhood that we all need to know and talk to and bring them to the table so they can share their ideas. So thank you. Kaufman Foundation, and 1 Million Cups. And thank you to all our organizers and our sponsors today.
Thanks, everybody.
Chico chapter,
thank you.
remember, go out and be awesome today. Thank
All
you
right.
for your
Bye,
time.
everybody.
Bye. Okay, I'm gonna head out here.
Thank you, Kent.